Monday morning, and you know what that means. It's 7 o'clock in the East. That means it's time for Donald Trump. Hello, Mr. Trump.
Morning, Donald.
Good morning.
Well, it's Super Bowl week.
Right.
Will you be doing the toboggan run that goes, I think, 8 blocks?
Well, I don't have it planned, I must be honest with you. It's not high on the agenda.
Well, I'd like to invite you because I think we're going to get a chance to do it.
Well, that
Are we on a team?
Good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'll do anything you folks want to do if you want me there. I mean, that sounds very interesting, but the game is going to be very interesting. And you have to say Peyton Manning's been a tremendous quarterback over the years. He maybe deserves to have more than one Super Bowl.
Perhaps, and maybe catch up to Eli there, his younger brother. Mr. Trump, let me ask you, so before we get to the Super Bowl, tomorrow night, State of the Union set to take center stage there. What do you want the president to say? What do you want to hear from him?
Well, there's so little cohesion in this country. The country is really, I've never seen anything like it. And you talk about executive orders, and all that means is you just can't get along with anybody, so they're going to do something that's going to end up being in court all over the place, and it's going to drive a wedge even further. And you'd like to see this country be able to get along. Now, we've been hearing so much in terms of rhetoric, and it's all talk, it's no action. So I'm certainly not counting on much.
Well, you know what? At last year's State of the Union address, he promised immigration reform, increase the minimum wage, and gun control, which, interestingly enough, died in the Democrat-controlled Senate. So last year, you know, he kind of whiffed, didn't get a lot done. Looking forward, the people at the White House came up with a 3-page thing. They said you got to be less like a prime minister, where you're elected by your fellow lawmakers and you're beholden to them, and more like a president.
Well, I think that's right. The country is in trouble. There's no question about it. Even if you look at Afghanistan, the way they treat us, like little children. We have an agreement. It's done. Karzai goes around saying, "Get out of our country, get out," and we're the ones that put him there. It's amazing when you see what's happening with this country. And so, from his speech, it'll be another political speech, and it's not going to. I don't think it's going to be very relevant. It's going to be something we're going to sit back, we're going to watch, and we're going to hope. But there's not much hope.
But you know what's so interesting is that when Bill Clinton lost Congress, that was almost his green light to go get things done and go compromise. George Bush lost Congress, he compromised. Got a lot of people angry on the right, a lot of people angry on the left, but he compromised because that's the reality. So the president could do small things on immigration reform. He could get together on some type of infrastructure if he started to restructure our tax system. Evidently, there's a bipartisan agreement on some tax reform that he could actually get behind. He could start building on some successes and actually make it more better prospects for his midterm election this fall.
Brian, he could do a lot of things, but it's not in his nature. It wasn't something that it's just incredible. If you look at what's going on, it's incredible. Look at unemployment in the country. I mean, what you really should be talking about during the speech is jobs, because their jobs are fleeing this country. They're leaving. They're going to other countries. And that's what he should be talking about, is making the country strong again economically, bringing the country back, because it's just the opposite. And, you know, when you bring the country back, that helps Social Security, that helps Medicare, that helps Medicaid, and all of the things that they want to cut. That helps these things. It makes them viable again. But our country is going in the wrong direction. Our unemployment picture, and you saw that last week, it was incredible. When the numbers were announced, I was watching some, pretty major economists, if there is such a thing as an economist, to be honest with you, but because it's a guessing game. But I was watching these guys. They were absolutely stunned when they looked at the numbers. They couldn't believe it, how bad they were. So
because people are dropping out of the workforce.
Well, what we have to do is we have to be focused on the country, on jobs, on bringing jobs back to this country, and on getting along and making deals with people. Just getting along with the Republicans, and getting along even with Democrats who are really abandoning Obama now, because I've seen where they don't even want him to come into their states. Obamacare is going to be a disaster, and Obamacare is going to lead to a tremendous Republican resurgence. It's very interesting what's happening. 2 months ago we were talking and the Republicans were in trouble, and now all of a sudden people are predicting amazing things. So, and I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm saying Obamacare is a total disaster. It's imploding.
So some are saying, sure, he should come out and apologize when it comes to Obamacare. But what about this? I mean, a lot of people are concerned right now that the action that everyone wants to have take place. The method by which the president is going to go about things is a little scary right now. He's going to bypass Congress with or without them. I mean, listen to what Dan Pfeiffer, senior advisor, said about what to expect.
I think we need to show the American people that we can get something done, either through Congress or on our own, because what they want are answers. They're out there working hard, building their businesses, showing up to work every day, playing by the rules, and they expect the same from Washington. The president wants to lead in that direction.
So with or without Congress, I mean, either that's an ultimatum or to some.
My way or the highway.
Right. I mean, how do you feel about that?
There's never been anything like it, Elizabeth. There's never been a time like this. There's no communication whatsoever, and there's no leadership. If there were leadership, he'd grab everybody, get them in a room, and make a deal. You lock the door, and you make a deal. You get something done. Instead, he's going to use something that is almost unthinkable. When you think that he's going to do this, it's this would have been unthinkable 4 years ago or 2 years ago, and this is going to happen perhaps because there's no leadership. There's no work. There's no getting together and let's make a deal. Let's look good to everybody, including the world, by the way, where we look like a bunch of jerks.
Right. And now,
this is something that could happen.
Right. And the interesting thing is he got elected because he promised he would change the tone in Washington, and now the tone has never been icier. Donald Trump,
never been worse.
Well, when are you going to decide if you're running for governor, especially in light of what Andrew Cuomo said this week, telling conservatives to hit the road?
Well, that was a terrible statement, and I told the Republican Party if they unify, which is unlikely because they don't have good leadership at the top, but if they unify, I would do it, and I would win. New York needs somebody. It needs some strength, and it needs somebody fast. But if they unify, will they unify? Probably not. New York has been a disaster for years for the Republicans.
All right. Well, if they do, you're in, and you'll win. You heard it here first. All right. Donald Trump, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Folks.
See you after the Super Bowl next month.